Maybe can you talk a little bit about like Dad picking Muta or how that went, like
Well,
the beginning stages of it.
Beginning stages of that.
I forget if there was 2 guys, 3 guys.
There were 2 actually. There were 2, and it started off because George Scott had asked Dad, because Dad had been asked to make another kabuki, numerous times by offices. And Dad was never one to manage you twice unless your name was Mark Lewin or Tim Brooks. And he just didn't want to do that again.
But I remember we were sitting at home in Daytona.
Yeah, we were sitting in Daytona, and the phone rang, and Dad had a brief conversation, and he said, well, I got to pick the guy.
Who was calling?
George Scott was booking at the time. He goes, I can make you something similar, which the question was, can you make another kabuki? And Dad said, well, it's got to be, I got to pick the guy and the clothes are authentic. Okay, talk to you later. I said, what was that all about? He said, they want another kabuki. And I said, you gonna do it? He goes, yeah. I said, who are you gonna get to do it? He goes, well, there's this kid in Texas named the Super Black Ninja. I said, oh, I know, I've seen him. So he was one of 2 guys. There was a second one, I don't know who he was, because they had them both under masks.
And I remember Dad said he would go to different shows like around the Carolinas.
Yeah, they were going to smaller
and
towns.
He would watch, he would look at them.
Like Florence, Conway, Myrtle Beach, I think. Smaller loop towns. That way no one would know because you would put the mask on him. And by the first night, Dad knew exactly who it was going to be. And I think that was the one he wanted anyway.
Yeah.
And that's the one who I think the New Japan office wanted too, because in a lot of ways, as that thing played out, I think that even if Dad hadn't been managing, hadn't been working in Atlanta at the time, wherever Dad was, the Japanese office wanted something to click for Kinji. So they were going to find, Dad could have been working for Vern, Dad could have been working for Fritz. Dad could have been, working at a photo mat. And they would have found him and brought him in to create the Great Muta. And another thing that is kind of, that bothers me, I mean, it doesn't bother me as much anymore as it did back then, but people saying, oh, well, then Gary got with Muta. Gary and Muta got together. He was not the Great Muta when Dad found him. He was doing the spectacular moves, but he was not really packaged the right way. And once Dad put that on him and fine-tuned him and took the matches and structured them into the 7 or 8 things that he did really well, then we really had something.